Okay, so we say the definition of the Quran. The definition of Quran is, we say the Quran is the miraculous speech of Allah, revealed to Prophet Muhammad in Arabic language, transferred to us by Mutawatur, and which is in the Mus'haf, and the recitation of it by itself, just the recitation of it is ibadah. So this is one of the most comprehensive probably definitions that has been said regarding Quran. The Quran being a miraculous speech, the proof for that is what we can see in the Quran, the information that we get from the Quran regarding the previous nations. Some of them, they are in the previous books, some of them not. The scientific issues that we find in the Quran. Quran deals with science matters, such as Maraj al-Bahrayni al-Taqiyan, the meeting of the two seas, one being sweet and the other being salted, something that has been discovered only recently. The fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, describes someone who that Allah doesn't want to be guided, like someone who He described him like someone who is going high towards the sky. His chest being someone who can't constricted, can't breathe. Something like this. The highest mountain in Mecca and Medina, or in Arab Peninsula, highest mountain for the Prophet to go high. He was not like in Himalaya. You can, if you go to the mountains of Himalaya, you know that the higher you go, you can't breathe. It will be difficult to breathe, but not this information. He could have not got it from except from revelation. How can he know that something like this happens? The matters that the Quran deals with, that the new science has discovered, like the creation of the human being, the way the clouds, the mountains, all these show that it is miraculous. The Quran Allah described His book to be something miraculous. He says in the Quran, قل لئن اجتمعت الإنس والجن على أن يأتوا بمثل هذا القرآن لا يأتون بمثله. So say that if the human and the spirits gather to bring something similar to this Quran, they will not come home with something similar. They will not be able to come with something similar. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defied. Is it defied? Okay.
Defined.
No, defies it. What's the?
No, it's like challenged the Arabs to bring something similar. So He challenged the Arabs to come with something similar as Quran. One ayah, first one surah, before He said 10 surahs or one surah. They were not able, even though they were very eloquent in speech. Well, this is something that an Arab will understand. If you read the Quran, the way the Quran is when you read the Quran, you can see how it's like eloquent, beautiful. I mean, compared to any poetry, any Arab can, who is proper Arab, he will see the difference, how it's beautiful. This is probably not for everybody, but someone who is not an Arab, someone who is Arab will know the difference. He can feel the difference between Quran or the best poetry ever made. And the Quran deals in the same time with many different issues. I mean, legislations, wisdom. The best poets known to the Arabs were some people who are limited like they have one category. When we talk about the best poets ever, Imru al-Qais, Nabigh al-Dubyani, Al-A'sha, Zuhair ibn Abi Sulma, these people, they will say, Arabs will say, the best of the poets is Imru al-Qais when he is إذا ركب, when he is in his journey, because he taught all his poets is about journeys. And Imru al-Qais, Nabigh al-Dubyani إذا رهب, Nabigh al-Dubyani when he is afraid. The best poetry is like praising the king and asking for forgiveness. And Al-A'sha إذا شرب, when he drinks, because Al-A'sha is all his poetry about drink, about alcohol, about women. And Zuhair إذا رغب, Zuhair ibn Abi Sulma when he is seeking something, praising the leaders so they can give him something. But they are limited to one domain. The Quran, the way it deals, the eloquency of the speech, but not only eloquency of speech, and what comes from that. One ayah in the Quran, the ayah that deals with about the Surah An-Nur, if you read it, it's something very, that hukm you will, if people think about it, the humanity can't come with hukm such as hukm in Surah An-Nur. Severe punishment for someone who does commit adultery. Severe punishment for someone who commit adultery or fornication. But for witnesses, the need of 4 witnesses. 4 witnesses who are pious, trustworthy, just people. A just person will not go to someone else's house and look through the keyhole. A just person will not spy on Muslims. So it's almost impossible to prove that a man and a woman have committed adultery unless they put it on video, unless they do it in public. Doing it in public, you might call it their freedom. Well, even this society here, for example, that we live in, they don't say it's freedom. They won't let people do it, do such thing in a park or something. Because their freedom, it has limits. Their freedom shouldn't be interfering with other people's freedom. Their freedom doesn't mean that I have my freedom as well. I have my freedom, I have to let my children out. Now, to corrupt my children, you are taking my freedom away. Now I am not free anymore to go out in the street, to let my children in the street. I am not free anymore to let my children go to the internet because of what you are posting in the internet. You understand? So if they want to do this sin, committed in their home, and hide it, not to talk about it, Allah will deal with them. We are not supposed to go and spy on people on their houses. And anyone who comes and say, I was watching, or I put camera, I installed the camera, his evidence are not accepted. In Islam, we shouldn't do that. After Allah explains all the details about issue of adultery and how to deal with it, He says something, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُحِبُّونَ أَن تَشِيعَ الْفَاحِشَةُ فِي الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Those who like that the shameful acts are publicized among the believers, they will have severe punishment in this life and the hereafter. So it's deterrent, really. Someone who understands will understand that this hukm is not it didn't come from the imagination of one illiterate person. It's definitely revelation. No matter how wise you are, this is not something that a person can come up with from his head. This is the way I see it. However, now, the Quran being miraculous, that is what Allah said in the Quran. That is what the Prophet said. There is hadith in Bukhari and Muslim that from Abu Huraira that the Prophet said, ما من نبي إلا وقد أوتي من الآيات ما على مثله آمن البشر. Every prophet has been given ayat, has been given signs for which people has followed him. وكان الذي أوتيت وإنما كان الذي أوتيته وحيا أوحى الله إليه. What I have been given is wahy, is revelation that Allah has revealed to me. So his sign as a prophet is the wahy that has been revealed to him, the Quran and Sunnah. فأرجو أن أكون أكثرهم تابعا يوم القيامة. I hope that I will have more followers than any of these prophets the day of judgment. So this Quran is miraculous, and it's the sign that the Prophet has said the truth until the day of judgment. For people to, it's like the other prophets, their signs died with them. We don't have the stick of Musa anymore. We don't have the mu'jizat of Isa being able to bring the dead to life, or the blind make them see it. It's not possible today. We don't know it. We heard about it. We didn't see it. We read it. We believe it in it, but we didn't see it. It's not like the Quran. The Quran is there. You can read it, reflect on it, and see what's in it. So this is like we are trying to explain the definition. So we say the miraculous speech of Allah. Of course, when we say the speech of Allah, we are not talking here about Quran being created or not, because some people take from this word, like speech of Allah, that Quran is created or not. This is not proof. No? Not the fact that I'm not saying the Quran is created or not. I mean, it's not this. But when you say something, always when you talk about Allah, even when you say, you might say that alcohol is haram. Someone says alcohol is haram. Okay, that's true. Alcohol is haram. And then what is the proof? And then he says, Allah says in the Quran, وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً طَهُورًا. We have sent down from the sky pure water. That is in a way lying about Allah. Yeah, alcohol is haram, the way you say it, but this is not the proof for it. So, but you are saying that this is what Allah made it haram with. So if you have to say about something is haram, you have to bring the right, or something is halal, or something is kufr, or something is not kufr, or this is the speech of Allah, or this is not the speech of Allah. If you say Quran being not created, or being created, you have to show your proof, rather than, oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called it his saying. You understand? Because I just stopped here because in some definitions, in some books, when they come here and they say that the fact that Allah said Kalamullah, that shows it's not created. To show that this is not right, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described Isa as Kalimatullah alqaha ila Maryam. Isa ibn Maryam, Allah said, he is the word of Allah. He threw it to Maryam. So we are not discussing today the Quran being not created, but just when you are reading usul fiqh and the definition of Quran, people will come to this point here and then they say this, the fact that it's the speech of Allah mean it's not created. But that is wrong. We are not going to discuss it any further. That is not, I say, you shouldn't use this word here to say this is not created. And so the Quran being the miraculous speech of Allah revealed into Muhammad. By saying revealed into Muhammad, the Prophet, we are saying taking out the previous books that has been revealed to other prophets. There is a hadith in Bukhari from Abi Huraira that says, خُفِّفَ عَلَى دَاوُودَ الْقُرْآنُ. The Quran have been made easy for Dawood. So he will order his animal to be prepared, and then he will read it in the time that his animal is being prepared for him to. So he will ask them to prepare the animal. In the time that they are preparing the animal, he will read it. So here, the word in this hadith says Quran. But it comes in another narration, qira'ah, recitation. The word Quran by itself comes from the word recitation. Inna alayna jam'ahu wa Qur'anah. It is on us, the collection of it. فَإِذَا قَرَأْنَاهُ فَاتَّبِعْ قُرْآنَهُ. Qira'ah is the collection, collecting something. So this hadith is one of these two narrations. Definitely, when we have hadith from the Prophet with two different narrations, it should be one correct and one wrong. I mean, the Prophet would have said either this or this. It's very easy to find it out. It is possible to find it out. It's important to find out. Because one is the saying of the Prophet, which is wahi, which is protected. The other one is someone narrating with the meaning. Either way, I'm not going to say because I'm not sure really which one is. So if either way, it is the meaning of it. It's not the Quran that we have today. It's mean the recitation was made easy for him, because the Quran that we talk about, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called the Quran different names in the Quran. Like it's called the dhikr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ نَتْلُوهُ عَلَيْكَ مِنَ الْآيَاتِ وَالذِّكْرِ الْحَكِيمِ. That is, we read to you from the signs or the ayat, the verses, and Quran. No, ذَلِكَ نَتْلُوهُ عَلَيْكَ مِنَ الْآيَاتِ وَالذِّكْرِ الْحَكِيمِ. And dhikr, which is, and the dhikr, from the ayat and the dhikr. So the name of Quran is dhikr. After the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned the story of Isa, before him Maryam and Zakaria, he said ذَلِكَ نَتْلُوهُ عَلَيْكَ مِنَ الْآيَاتِ, from the verses and the dhikr. So the Quran is dhikr. Quran also is Furqan. تبارك الذي نزل الفرقان على عبده. Glory to the one who has sent the Furqan on his servant. Quran is the Quran is called Furqan as well.
Criterion.
And Furqan, dhikr means remembrance. Furqan means
Tanzil.
something which is dividing or a barrier between, say, the haqq and batil. The Quran is called also al-kitab, the book. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. The word Furqan and the word dhikr, the word kitab or tanzil, these are names that can be given to any book before the Quran. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْفُرْقَانَ. So Musa was given the Furqan as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Nuh, telling his people, أَوَعَجِبْتُمْ أَنْ جَاءَكُمْ ذِكْرٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. Are you wondering that dhikr came to you from your Lord? وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْفُرْقَانَ وَضِيَاءً وَذِكْرًا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. So Musa has been given the Furqan and the light and the dhikr and dhikr. And also the kitab. The kitab is the name Allah called the other books kitab. كان الناس أمة واحدة, the people were one nation. فبعث الله النبيين مبشرين ومنذرين. Then Allah sent the prophets warning, مبشرين, with glad tidings, to give glad tidings and to warn. وأنزل معهم الكتاب, and He said with them the book. But the Quran is just for the book that has been revealed to Muhammad the Prophet, our Prophet. So, definition of Quran again: the miraculous speech of Allah revealed to Muhammad, which has been in Arabic. That is important, in Arabic. The Quran is Arabic. All the Quran from the beginning to the end is Arabic. We have many people from the Muslims, people of knowledge, from the Sahaba, who say about some words that they are not from Arabic language. Ibn Abbas, for example, he says many times, many ayat, that there are many words like such as Nashi'atul Layl, Nashi'a, such as the word Istibraq, Sijil, Tanur, Abariq. These words people have said these are not Arabic, and some people add to it like Mikal or Ibrahim or Ismail, which are originally not Arabic. So some people say that there is in Quran words that are not Arabic. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا, we made it Arabic Quran. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا وَكَذَلِكَ أَنزَلْنَاهُ حُكْمًا عَرَبِيًّا. I mean, the numbers of the ayat that says that the Quran is Arabic are so many. And some people have said that there are some words, they say generally the Quran is Arabic, but there are some words that are not. That is definitely a mistake. And the best answer is what Shafi'i said in his book, answering them. He said, the fact that Arabs, many Arabs, or the whole of the Arabs don't know one word. Of course, the whole Arabs don't know one word, that's very difficult. But yeah, the majority of the Arabs not know one word doesn't mean that word is not Arabic. The fact that a word originally is not Arabic doesn't mean that that word cannot be taken by the Arabs and used until it becomes one word, until it becomes an Arabic word. I mean, language, you can take a word from another language. You understand? Like what we call taking a word from, there are words in English, in any language. There is no language that where they have no words that they have taken from other nations. And you can see how many words, like from one language to another, the similarity of the words. You just have to remember that originally people were one nation and they had one language. And then they were divided. When they were divided, okay, they went out their way and then they decided, okay, you leave the language for me, you go and create new language, like people creating new language altogether. No, they had language, and you will see the similarity between words in Arabic, English, many words in Arabic. If you look at the roots where they come from, you will find them in English. You will find many words, original words. It's not like things that are new. It's not like words that, of course, there was no car. So the people who created the car, okay, maybe other people will take the name of it. Some people call it automobile, and then in Arabic we call it tomobile or something like this. This is clear where it comes from. But no, I mean, cars is something invention. But talking talking is something that forever, since the human was there, people were talking. Walking. Like take these two words here. Walk. Talk. In the Arabic, you can't say talk about talaq. Talking. Can you see the similarity? Walking. Walaq. Walaqa. Walk. Is the same alphabets. Waw, lam, kaf. W-L-K. So the fact that when we say Arabic, there is some words that some Arabs have not heard before, doesn't mean that these words are not Arabic. Because Allah said it's Arabic, it's Arabic. If the Arabs didn't hear it before, or it wasn't originally from the Arabic language, but then the Arabs took it from other nations and used it, it became their language.
Well, that's not the same argument that they're saying that it's not originally Arabic words.
Yeah, that was not originally Arabic words, but then it became Arabic words.
With the advent of the Quran.
No, it's not the Quran that made it. It was Arabic before the Quran. I mean the word...
But isn't it possible for the Quran to give a whole new vocabulary? People didn't know maybe Yahya or Adam or Ibrahim because it was lost in previous books maybe.
Who said... yeah, but Allah...
Or the meaning of a word,
names.
for example, like the Quran brought a word but it had multiple meanings. Now what people...
Who says that there was Arab Christian? All the prophets that the Quran mentions are either Arabs or the Christian, those that the prophets that are not known to the Arabs, like to Bani Israel, they were known to Bani Israel, and Bani Israel, they were living with the Arabs.
So taking on Persian words, for example, are you just concluding that by necessity to
well,
make
if
the Quran's
Allah,
argument strong?
if Allah says the Quran is Arabic, then the Quran is Arabic. All of it, from the beginning to the end.
Allah created everything. He can say anything is... Allah created all nations and
He
languages.
created all languages, and He created some language. The Persian languages, He created the Roman languages, and He created the Arabic languages.
So He can choose to say which is Arabic and which is not.
Yeah. So He says, since He said the Quran is Arabic, it's Arabic. That's all.
Okay.
I mean,
so it doesn't have to come before. It can just be now Allah's revealed it. It doesn't have to come before. But now He said it's Arabic. It's Arabic.
That will take us nowhere. The Quran is Arabic language. I mean, it's not fit for anybody to come to a word and say this is not Arabic. That's all. Every word in the Quran is Arabic. This is what Allah said. If someone doesn't know that this word is Arabic, that is him not knowing it. I mean, something that you have to understand this. If Allah says something about the Quran, if Allah says something, you have to accept it. The people ignoring something from the Quran, it's not hujjah against Allah, it's not proof against Allah. You understand? Does Ibn Abbas say this word is not from Arabic? Does Ibn Abbas know every single word in Arabic? Is there any Arab who knows every single word, Arabic word? No, it isn't. Ibn Abbas sometimes he says about some words that they are not from Arabic, and other people actually know them. They know they are known to the Arabs. You understand? That was genuine mistakes. That should stop. Genuine mistake from him. But when we say Quran, when Allah says about Quran, it's Arabic, or He says it's muhkam, for example, meaning not abrogated, then we will say, yeah, it is Arabic. Every single ayah of it, every single word of it, it is also not abrogated. Every single ayah of it. If anyone comes with the opposite statement, he must prove it the way we say Quran says. Allah said it's Arabic. Don't tell me Ibn Abbas said I don't understand this word. Say somewhere, tell me, show me another ayah that says, or another hadith that says that no, actually there is one ayah which is not, or one word which is not. This is the way This is the meaning of وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. Of course, with knowledge. So if someone, you should judge with what Allah has revealed. If Allah says something, you have to take it. This is why you study usul fiqh, to know how to deal with Quran. That we have to accept Quran to the end. So we said the Quran being Arabic. The other thing is that it came to us with Tawatur. The Quran came to us with Tawatur. Yes, the Quran came to us with Tawatur. Now, generally the Quran came with Tawatur. We received the Quran generation by generation with Tawatur. Generally. The Quran that we have today is Mutawatir from us until the people who wrote it down. That is Zayd ibn Thabit and Amr ibn Sa'id and the people that Uthman have given this mission to write it down in the Masahif. There was at the beginning the Masahif that Umar sent to the cities. And from then, we know that Quran from then, these books were protected, like were being looked after very carefully. And from then, people have been writing the Quran from this Masahif. The fact that the Quran is what has been revealed to the Prophet, we got it as Mutawatir, generation after generation after generation. There is no doubt about it. I mean, you go to Spain, you will get Mus'haf. You will go to China, you will get Mus'haf. And not only this new Mus'haf that has been printed in the last few years. No, old Mus'hafs, very old books from different places in the world. It's impossible that all these people gathered and created something and made it up from their heads. The Quran was being the tafsir of Quran. The tafsir of Quran being transferred to us. The people who have started writing Quran, tafsir of Quran, it became in the first century. We still have tafsir as early as like Ibn Jurayj and Al-Farra and Abdul Razzaq.
Even Ibn Abbas.
No, the tafsir of Ibn Abbas comes from different ways. Muqatil, who is a liar, or Ali ibn Talha, who never met him. So, not really. But we have these, like Ibn Jurayj, who is the student of Ata, who has taken tafsir from other sources. Of course, Ata here is Ata al-Khurasani. But Ibn Jurayj, Ibn Jurayj, who is one of the Atba' Tabi'i, he narrates, he has the tafsir, who heard it from the Tabi'in, who is Shuyukh Tabi'in. Abd al-Razzaq, Al-Farra, he just died in the 2nd century. So, all these books talking about the same Quran. You understand? And from them, generation after generation, having these books, and these books are still, some of these books we still have even the original. People have, some of these books have been written in Khurasan, some of them in Mecca, some of them in Medina, some of them in Kufa. This is what we call Tawatur. In Tawatur, we don't even need the people to be, the people who, if there is Tawatur, you don't have to check the people. Even if they are not Muslim. Where there is Tawatur, then there is no problem. You don't have to check the chain. Like having Tawatur, we have Tawatur from the Kafirs, for example, that there is such city exists that we have never seen. But you have to make sure that this tawatur will take you all the way to the Prophet or to a trustworthy person. Now, Bukhari is tawatur. It's mutawatir that this book has been written by Bukhari. From the time that he wrote it until today, thousands of people have heard this book from him and copied it from him. Since then, hundreds of thousands of people have spoken about this book in different places in the world. They have mentioned hadith. One person will mention one hadith and say this hadith is in the book of Iman, and another trustworthy person, he will say this hadith exists in that, and another non-trustworthy person will say this hadith exists in that. And then if you take all these books and you compare them, you will find that, yeah, this is and you take the original book, you compare them, you will say that it's not possible that all these people who were in different places, in different times, like masterminded this. That is tawatur. You don't need isnad for it. But after, when you reach Bukhari, the book is book of Bukhari, tawatur. After that, we have to look at every single chain. From Bukhari up to the Prophet, we have to, same thing with Quran. To say the Quran came to us from the Sahaba with tawatur, it isn't. We have the 7 narrations, for example, from trustworthy people such as Kisa'i, Abu Amr al-Duri, Hamza, Asim. These people are trustworthy. They narrated Quran from their shuyukh, from the Sahaba, from the Prophet. From these people, later it became tawatur. The Quran being mutawatir itself, we say these books that have been divided into cities. I mean, 7 books is enough. It's not one. The whole idea about Quran being mutawatir is fine. Like every single narration, every single narration has what another narration doesn't have. That is not tawatur. At the beginning. That is what Asim said. That is what Kasa'i said. And they are trustworthy. Anyone who rejects Sunnah because it's not mutawatir should reject Quran. Because at one point, the Quran is not mutawatir.
So the whole story that we've been told that the Prophet, any ayah that used to come down, 25, 30 people used to be there, write it down straight away.
Where did you get it from? I can just say, whenever he writes Quran, Allah will tell, before it's narrated, Allah will tell him, call people, and then he will call them, and then they will see the Jibreel when he is talking to him. So they will be witnesses not to the revelation itself. Anyone can say anything he likes. What is the proof? We have the hadith. One of the writers of the Prophet was Zayd ibn Thabit. The Prophet did use to call some people to write Quran. We don't know. There is nothing to show that the Prophet used to call people in the time when the Quran is being revealed. The Prophet sometimes goes in journey. The Prophet sometimes goes out of Medina with just few Sahaba. There is nothing to say that the Quran is revealed to him when people are there. There is the Prophet said that about Aisha, that she is the only woman that wahi comes to me when I am with her in the bed. Most likely to be night time. We don't know if the Prophet will call someone to. Allah had a guarantee from Allah to preserve the Quran, and we can see that the Prophet was not taking like what we call extreme measures to protect the Quran. That is because he had the guarantee that it will be protected. So these people.
No, but I mean, not that they wrote it down as soon as the revelation came, but they wrote it down in the Prophet's lifetime.
That is, if some, I tell you something, I told you that everybody can say whatever he likes. We just want
The proof.
the proof for that. I mean, the fact that Quran, Zayd ibn Thabit, when he was collecting the Quran, he goes and tries to take it from writing. He will see it in writing. That's what he was trying to do. But to say that at the time of Prophet, every ayah was written in 30 different places, what do you say about this ayah when he says, I couldn't find it except with Khuzaymah ibn Thabit? He looked and he couldn't find it except with Khuzaymah ibn Thabit. That is what Zayd ibn Thabit says. This hadith is in Bukhari, no? So he couldn't find it. Either you say he couldn't find it written except with Khuzaymah ibn Thabit, or the only person who knew it is Khuzaymah ibn Thabit. Either, where is the 30 people? Where is the 29? The rest of the
had.
However, Khuzaymah ibn Thabit is trustworthy. Zayd ibn Thabit is trustworthy. The people who narrate Quran from him are trustworthy. We take it. Doesn't matter to us. Allah has said that the religion will be protected. Anyone who says that there is a difference between what is protected, what is Mutawatur, and what is Dhanni Thubut, doesn't make any sense. Because you are telling me if the Quran doesn't come with Tawatur, we don't have to accept it. Okay, so the guy, this Hercules, then yes, mean you are saying that he has every reason to reject the message of the Prophet. He got the letter from one person, so he has to wait until the whole everybody says yes, this is the letter of the Prophet. Like the Prophet must send him a nation, the whole Medina, to testify this is the book of Allah, this is the ayah that the Prophet has told you here is the Quran, so you have to accept it. No, there is no difference between what is Usul al-Din and Furu' al-Din. Everything that comes from trustworthy should be accepted. The religion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says that He will protect the religion, there is nothing that says that the Prophet will be protected from forgetting and not revealing an ayah or something. Is there anything that says that the Prophet will never forget from conveying the message? Or a hadith?
But you assume he won't because...
There is one. We will protect the religion. We send down the religion and we will protect it. And if you use this ayah, this is the ayah that shows that the Prophet will never forget to give us any message, or will never forget and change one ayah from its place. And this is the proof that Ibn Umar and Zayd ibn Thabit and Khuzaymah ibn Thabit will never forget and change one ayah from its place. And this is the proof that the Tabi'in after them, the single people who write the Quran, will never forget and change one ayah from its place. And if someone says, Wallahu ya'asimuka min al-nas, that the Prophet is ma'asum. Yeah, is ma'asum. Read the ayah. The Prophet is ma'asum. Ma'asum from what? Ma'asum from people. They can never harm him. They can never corrupt him. They can never kill him. This is what the ayah says. Wallahu ya'asimuka. Allah will protect you from people. Ya'asimuka min al-nas. As for the fact that he will not forget and he will convey the message the way he should, the fact that he will not change an ayah by mistake, or that is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has protected the religion. And this goes for every trustworthy person who has revealed into us the Quran or the Sunnah. Quran, of course, we say it's Tawatur generally. What I mean by Tawatur, the Adhan, is it Tawatur or not?
You would assume so because there were so many people who heard it.
The Adhan was being made 5 times a day, from the time when the Prophet went to Medina until he died, in Mecca and Medina, every single day 5 times. the adhan in Mecca and Medina, except at one point in Mecca in the Kaaba, I mean in the same mosque, not in different mosques that are new, no, in the same mosque, and Medina and Mecca. And we know that this adhan actually, now people say tawatur. Yeah, the adhan, the fact that adhan has been made all the time, except from probably the Qaramita when they took over Kaaba, have been done every time for a very short time, and the same people left and came back, so they have not changed the adhan. The adhan was tawatur, but what is the wording of the adhan? Why people keep changing the adhan? In Mecca the adhan is not the same. If we know that this is the same adhan, we have no problem. The adhan, Hanafis take over, they will do the adhan of Abu Hanifa. The Malikis take over, the adhan of Malik. The general idea about Quran being
what is the difference? I'm just curious to know what is the difference between the adhans, as an example, because I would assume that it's such an amazing mutawatir thing that it's every salah in the congregation.
If the Quran was not written in books, we will have problem. The Tawrat and the Injil came by tawatur. You understand? It has been changed a lot. It has been written, but you can see the difference between. However, the books that we have, it goes back to trustworthy people, known people, and one book testify for the other. Take book of the scholars of Spain, compare them to the books of the people of Basra, compares them to the people of Kufa. They all say the same thing. You understand? If we go to if the Quran was just revealed generally like this, came to us tawatur, without these books that we have, people recite in a different way. They will not know which one. People make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes a big sheikh will forget an ayah, and then we will not know who is right, who is wrong. These books that has been written and in different places, taken from one person taking it from another person, one book saying the same what the other books are saying. This make it clear that this is the Quran that has been revealed to the Prophet, until it reaches these trustworthy people that we trust, the Sahaba and the Tabi'in such as Abu Abdurrahman Sulami, and the people who has taken from them such as Asim, and which we can establish from them that they were trustworthy. So you see the difference between what is mutawatir and so that is what we call tawatur. The Torah, or let's say the Injil. The Injil is mutawatir. The Injil is mutawatir. No?
At some point in its...
It is mutawatir from us to now, like it was generation from generation. Even at the time of the Prophet, I mean, take it almost to this. It doesn't reach, the tawatur doesn't reach Isa himself. But this is generation after generation after generation, until it reaches the single person who wrote it. Can you establish that this person that who wrote it at then is trustworthy? That's what we can't find anywhere. We can't prove that person is trustworthy. From the look of his book, our book, which came to us by tawatur, tell us things that show that this book has been corrupted, either by the person who wrote it first or those who have written from him. And then you can see the difference between from one narration to another narration, sometimes because of the translation and because probably because the original are not there, or you understand. So a general idea about tawatur. The Quran being mutawatir, yes, to some until it reaches the Sahaba. until the Prophet. Mutawatur, generally, the Quran, the whole Quran.
Can I just...
Like this is the surah, this is the surah al-Baqarah, this is surah al-Imran, this is surah al-Ma'idah. All this is tawatur. But this surah is recited in this way, or it's recited in this way.
Can I just ask a bit of a puzzling question? Is it right to say, or statement rather, is it right to say that the Quran's authenticity is both an external and an internal protection? Externally, when one is looking into Islam to verify if this is revelation, they're not going to believe the content. They're not going to say, well, Allah says it's the truth, therefore we'll believe it. They'll say, well, let's see if it's been changed or fabricated over the years. So they go and they look at the isnad. And as you said, it goes back to a trustworthy person. And for the multiple chains, even if it being a single chain, going into Mutawatur, the corroboration is huge, that there can't be any doubt. You can find books in Spain and everywhere else. But from the inside, now we're Muslim, is it true to say that the other scriptures, even if they were to have the initial first chain, because one chain could lead to another chain, for example, a single chain, is it those, like the Jews or the Christians, their books were protected by men?
They were protected
by, but Israel protected their own tablets, their own source, their own revelation.
What Allah has revealed in the other books will be protected as long as people need it.
Fine, but the fact is they don't need it because they have Quran now.
They need it. It will be used against them. Allah will ask them why they didn't believe. Allah ordered them in the Quran to judge with it, with their book. Allah says in the Quran, وَلْيَحْكُمْ أَهْلُ الْإِنْجِيلِ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ. Let the people of the Injil judge with what has been revealed in it. Doesn't Allah order this? This is in the Quran. So they have to judge with what is in the Injil. If they open the Injil, it will say a lot of things. And then it says also that there is a prophet who is coming after me. Isa will say that there is a prophet who will come after me. He will say the same thing that I have said. Follow him.
I agree with you there, but we know that because we accept the Quran. So my point is, so it's right in saying is on externally we're saying is that the isnad, it goes back to trustworthy people, but internally we know that irrespective of who that person was, Allah has already preserved it for us.
Yeah. The people of the book,
whereas previous generations never had that explicitly. Well, as far as we don't know, because if Allah had protected it, then it would never be corrupted.
Well, Allah has protected the Sunnah. We have so many hadith da'if and mawdu', and to the extent that many people in this generation, for example, the people who can decide that this hadith is da'if and this is the saying of the Prophet, this is not, are very few. And this is for every generation actually, after the Sahaba. The Sahaba used to hear the hadith from the Prophet. After that, many people, the majority of people, all nations, don't know what the Prophet have said and what the Prophet didn't say. And in many generations we had to decide that this hadith is sahih or not. You have to take a person, listen to his hadith, and compare them to the Quran and Sunnah, and see if this person is trustworthy or not. And then you can make a decision that this person is not trustworthy, because actually what he says doesn't make sense if you compare to what Allah has said, what we know, what He has established from Quran and Sunnah. You understand? You take the Torah and the same thing. Whatever in it, compare it to the Quran and Sunnah. What Quran says it's wrong, whatever it says which Allah didn't say in the Quran and Sunnah, it's contradicted, you have to throw it away. You have to say this is a lie. Whatever it's not, then you can't deny it. Anything that doesn't contradict the Quran and Sunnah, you can't deny it. And you don't take it. You just say, we believe in what Allah has revealed. That is because we don't need it anymore, anyway. You understand? Because whatever we need is in the Quran and Sunnah. But there is something in there that we believe in, and every Christian, Allah will ask him if he doesn't believe in it. something that says that the Prophet will come later, and then you have to follow him. If it's not needed, then Allah will not ask them about it. But Allah, in our Quran, He ordered them to judge with it. That ayah is not abrogated, that the people of the book should judge with what Allah has revealed to them.